So in our last session, we are looking at creation of or assignment of responsibility to primary ledger, and we tried to look for the profile option GL ledger name, of which we didn't happen to get it, but I've like I promised, I will check on what could have caused that. I managed to go and do some few researches, and what I realized is that since we have already assigned our responsibility to security profile option, that is MO security profile option, you don't need to go ahead and assign the the GL ledger name at the responsibility level. So for the fact that we have already done that, in this case, we don't need to go ahead and assign this, responsibility to primary ledger. That one is something that has been amended in the latest documentation. So what you are supposed to do is, the moment you have created responsibility and you assign the responsibility to a more security profile option, you don't need to go ahead and do set up the profile option operating unit anymore. Either do you need to set up the profile GL ledger name at responsibility level. So I hope that is clear. You can be able to remove this. And for the MO security profile option, I think we did it and can be able to showcase that. For your information, we log in. Once we log in, we go to profile. Through sysadmin. This is a system administrator responsibility. We go to profile, system. Okay. We just need to confirm that we assigned this profile to our responsibilities. It is a more security profile. Security profile. We choose one of the responsibility. Provide the profile name and click on it. So we have assigned the MO security profile to our responsibility through business group. Okay. So what you're supposed to now to do is to go ahead and create. We'll go ahead and create operating unit. We'll go ahead and create operating unit. And again, once you create operating unit, you don't need to assign the responsibility to operating unit, simply because you have done assignment of a more security profile option. This is from one of the document of Oracle that I checked, and this is what I happened to get. Okay. So the moment the profile option, a more security profile option has been assigned or set up, we'll make the responsibility have access to different operating units. Because these operating units, it's connected to the primary ledger, as we will see when we are defining it. So in our case, 1 minute. So let me log in. So the navigation for creation of operating units is the same with how we create organization in any other organization, because like we saw in our structure, we are just segmenting some group of information or data, but doing it in a different way. So the system has a way of now defining, even if it's not all, you might find there are some things or there are some items that will be defined from the same area. For instance, you could, if you can remember, we defined or we created primary ledger and legal entity from the accounting setup manager. So the same case you'll find when it comes to business group and operating units and inventory, we'll define them from the same window, but we'll assign them a different type of organization. So if it's business group, we assigned business group. If it's operating unit, we went ahead and assigned the operating unit as the type of the organization. So the navigation is just the same. That's what I wanted to just mention. So you can remove and go to number, supposed to be number 18. This is creation of operating unit. Creation of operating unit navigation created from responsibility straight. Responsibility is navigation. Sorry. not system administrator, but resource. Source. Let me call it. Navigation is work structure. Structure is structures. Structures. Organization. Descriptions. And one thing to note is that this organization definition, you'll always find them, they are supposed to be defined by the purchasing team or the purchasing consultant. And sometimes you might find, yeah, mostly this is the team that will define this information. So in finance, you'll find you're just defining the primary ledger and the legal entity. So this information, you'll find it already, it's there. But for learning purposes, that's why we are doing it, to be able to see the whole picture. But just to know, you might find if you're in line or you're having a number of consultants, including the purchasing consultant, that is procurement and all that, supply chain consultant, you don't need to come and do this. So it's the work of the supply chain consultant who will come in and do this. So you come and say new. Okay. Once you click on new, you provide the name of the operating unit. So in our case, we only have one. So we'll work with one. And just know that you can have as many, because we are assuming we are implementing in the level of multi-org, meaning you have several organizations. So just know that you can create more than one operating unit to represent different branches or units that are operating under a certain company. So this one we can say is third operations. Third operations. You can name it anything. Okay. Then here you can provide the type, which is not mandatory. Unit. Then this is the date that you start the operation. Okay. Then you come here and provide the location. The location we defined some earlier time before. Okay. So if you type just add and you tab, it will auto-populate. So once you have provided this information, you save. And once you save, you come and now classify this organization. And that's why I was saying we use the same window. Use the same window, but we classify the information that we have provided at the header level as the nature of the organization that we are defining. For instance, here we are defining operating unit. Remember, as the same place we defined business group. So in this case, we just provide the name operating unit. That is the classification. If you type operating unit, or even you type operating and tab, the system will autofill. So we have operating unit. You select. Once you select, you have to enable it here. You have to enable it and you save. Once you save, that operating unit cannot be changed. Cannot be changed, and that's why the system has grayed it out. Once you save, you click on others. That's not the end. You click on others. And there are several options here that you can select. But there is one that has a asterisk, which you're supposed to work with. So the system, it's by default selecting it at the top so that you can go ahead and just select. So you click on OK. You see it's talking about operating unit information. So you're supposed to provide operating unit information. Here, now you are supposed to provide operating unit information, and this information is none other than the primary ledger. This is the primary ledger that we defined. So this is how you come and connect your operating unit with the primary ledger. So with this, you can be able now to go ahead and provide the primary ledger details, that is tab. See now if just I type and tab the primary ledger that we defined. Of course, it's showing it's picking the short name. If you can remember, we had the short name, and that short name is what is auto-filled on the primary ledger field. But the primary ledger name is here on as the description. Okay. So with that, you can be able now to go ahead and provide the legal context. Legal context is none other than the legal entity that we did also. So this is in this level, and you are supposed to now if you want to provide a shortcode for the operating unit, you can do that. But if there isn't, you can just leave it the way it is and click on OK. Okay. Click then OK. And you'll see the system will ask you whether you want to save the changes. You say yes. Now we have created an operating unit, and this operating unit has been assigned to the primary ledger. Okay. I would like to see whether we can be able to book a transaction, whether in GL or in accounts payable, and see. Although I know there are some setups we are yet to complete, both in GL and in accounts payable, but it's good to see where we are pending as we continue to go on. So I first of all close this. Is there any question when it comes to operating unit creation? We just provide, it's just selection of information of what you have already created, because you only provide the name of the organization, that is the operating unit name. Then you provide the location. The location we had already defined. You select the organization classification. Once you save, And once you save the organization classification, you click on others and provide operating unit information. And our operating unit information is the primary ledger and the legal entity. Those are the only two information you select. Also that one you select because already we had defined earlier. So, and that's why now our order of learning has to follow each other, because you find one step has to be completed before we go to the next step. Any question? So if there's no question, let's navigate to GL, because we have already created the primary ledger and assigned the primary ledger to GL. But there is one thing I want us to do before that, about giving access to the responsibility through data access set. There is something we call data access set. Okay. And data access set, we first of all define it, and then after defining it, we have to give access through the general ledger or through the profile option, data access set. We will have to give access to the responsibility. So with this, we will go to general ledger. Once we go to general ledger, we will define the data access set, and after that we will assign responsibility to data access set, so that we can try and see whether we are ready to book a transaction. Okay, so we have defined the operating unit. This one is done. So number 19, we define the data access set. We achieve this through responsibility, navigation. Navigation, we will see navigation is set up. Not flex field, setup. It is accounting. Let's see. Just a minute. Setup. Financials. Financials are data access sets. Okay. So here we will provide some information that we have already defined, and also it will also provide the ledger information we will provide the chart of accounts, calendar, and also we'll say whether this data access set that we are defining, whether it's full access the responsibilities that will be assigned to this data access set, whether it's full or whether it's only the balancing segment value that will be accessed or management segment value. We have the option for selecting between the three. So when you say about the full ledger, it means like all the segment can be accessed through this data access set. So in this case, we provide that data access. Let's use the full name, just like we have used on others. Then chart of account, we defined TAD, accounting flex. Okay. Then calendar, we defined TAD calendar. Can go, let's work with full ledger or full ledger. Then you can see the period type. Once we select the calendar, it's defaulting to TAD monthly, the ones that we had already also defined. So what you're supposed to do now, once you have provided this, you should come under the access details. Under access details, you provide the ledger that relates to the access that you want to give. So here, if you click on LOV, remember, is list of value. The system, having provided this information, it is defaulting the primary ledger that we have already defined to this field of ledger. And once this one has defaulted, also the privilege, you have an option to select whether it's read only or it's read and write. So that means like if it is accessing the data that has been defined in this setup or in this instance, the read only means like you cannot do any transaction booking. But read and write, it means you can do both. You can read, you can create transaction, and as well you can read the already existing transaction. So this one, once this one is done, you can save. Now once you save, the system will submit a program to compile this. You can lead a program to compile this. And I believe you can as well provide another information based on how you want this data access to be accessed. But for now, let's just work with the first one, whereby we are working with read and write. So I will move the field that I've just created. So if I close this, the system is telling me the general ledger accounting setup program has been submitted to compile one chart of accounts. So say OK. Then you go to view, request. Fine. So you can see it has already completed. There's an initial one I had submitted before. So this one is what we will work with. So that's how we define the data access set. And now we want to give or assign the data access set created in our responsibility. Okay. We will create, or we will give access to all the responsibility that we have created through this data access set to so that we can be able to book a transaction, or or rather we'll give the primary ledger to responsibility to the responsibility through the data access set. Okay. So as usual, you know how we assign the profile options. Okay. To the system administrator. Profile. This is one of the points that it's saying it's not like mandatory, but it's good to know. Sometimes you might find maybe there is a feature that might need you to have the primary ledger assigned to the responsibility through data access set, so that a certain functionality can work accordingly. So it's very healthy to understand how we can be able to achieve that. Okay. And under this, you can check the site. Under responsibility, we say tab and tab. Any responsibility can start with any. So here you're supposed to provide the GL profile option, GL data access set. So you see this is the profile option, and here now you're supposed to provide the data access set that we have just defined. Is what we are supposed to do or rather to select here. For instance, tab and tab. This one. Add data access set. Then you save. Then you go to next. Responsibility and do the same. Hope you remember the shortcut I was using to bring this window up. purchasing. So that one is done. We can check and see. Yes, we have it. Check the last one. Just done. So that is in the level of responsibility. We have given access through data access set. So we can be able to close this. As we have closed this, let's see whether we can be able to book any transaction in GL. So under GL, well then let's confirm that there is any program that has been submitted as of demo completion. So there was no any program. The system was just saving. So let's see whether we can be able to book a new journal. This is where we book journals, although we'll come to learn about it. So you can see our ledger is defaulting. Okay, our ledger is defaulting. Is something of importance, of which where I was saying, like with the 3C, you can be able to book a transaction in the general ledger, but now with the 4C, you can only be able to book transaction in other ledgers. So let's just give our ledger or our journal name. You can call it test third J1. Call it J1. You can give more description there if you want. Something else we want to check is whether the periods are available. So we don't have periods. So we need to go and see we have opened the period so that we can have this information here. So because you can see it's mandatory, and also like I explained when I was explaining the importance of date and accounting, this is why we have this fields being mandatory, because we have to provide the period, we have to provide the date. So we'll close this and I will show you how we open the periods. So how do we open the periods? So the periods we open under setup. Okay. Here down there is open or close period. So This was for data access set. Counting. I didn't finish the navigation form. Not even accounting its setups. Financials. Financials. Data access sets. Doesn't have much explanation. It's just straightforward. Then we want to see period close, stroke, and this one depends with which periods you are opening. For the GL period, for counting calendar, GL periods, we open in responsibility, general, the navigation is setup, and stroke close. This is what you're looking at right now. This is a responsibility gear setup. Open, stroke close. Click on enter. See, the system is reporting our ledger. So the system is understanding that is the ledger we are working with, and now we are opening periods in this ledger. Okay. The very first time you can click on any, that one it will open all the periods, both closed and open, and now you can be able to scroll down and up, selecting which period you want. You can also specify the period that you want to open, maybe the closed one, feature entry, open, or permanently closed. Okay. So in this case, mostly for a better visibility, you usually click on work with, or open with status any. If you have any specification, you can provide the period date here or the period name, and also if there is other specification like physical years from when, or period numbers from when to when, you can provide them here down. Once you have provided these parameters, you click on find. Okay, and the system is telling you third data access set, third primary ledger, first period. So first period to open will be July 2024. Click on open. The system is asking you, are you sure you want to open this period in your ledger? You say yes. The system will send a concurrent request to the concurrent managers as a program, and you're supposed to navigate and go and see that period. That program is running completely. Period opening or open period program is running. So it should run and complete successfully. Okay. Okay. On the same, when you're opening the period, the system also triggers another program apart from the open period program of period balances. So if there is any balances in that period, they are also opened or ready for any adjustment. So that's why the system triggers the second program. You can see the open period has completed successfully. We wait for the open period balances to complete. The same has completed successfully. So our setup is okay. Just go ahead and see whether we can now see the open period under the year periods. So we close this. We also close this again and click on open, so close, and click on find. So you can see the system is showing us that we have our open period of July 2024. Initially it had nothing. Okay, so if this is the case, if we go and try to book the journal, we can only book it on the open period of July 2024. And you can be able to see here that the future enterable period is August 2024. Again, under the open and close period window, there are some also other information we may need to understand a bit of it. And one of it is the accounting period. And accounting period, it will give you, or it's showing you information about the latest open period, or the latest open period, that is July 2024. And then it has two tabs here down. You can open the next period, and also you can open a target period. So when you click on open the next period, the system will open the next period from, which is next, the immediate period from the last open period. Again, if you choose the option for open target period, the system will give you a window for you to be able to provide that specific target period you want to open. But I don't want us to dwell much on this for now, although I think we can complete the whole thing. For instance, if we want to open for the next period will be August 2024. You're supposed to click on open next period, and the system will ask you whether you are sure you want to open the next period. Say yes. The same process of submitting a program or a concurrent manager program is submitted, and here you're supposed to come and see it's normal. Completed normal. Or it was completed with a status normal. So if there is something of your attention that maybe probably you might need to, the system want you to take an action, the system will complete with status being a warning. It will give you a warning. The face will be a warning, and it will be showing that it has a color of yellow. But when there is something serious that has to be fixed first and needs attention, the system will always finish with a red color here, with an error of red color. So it will be, you'll be knowing that there is some issue. But when the system is completing with a phase of completed and the status is normal, everything becomes okay. It means like this, the program has completed okay, and there's nothing you need to worry about. So let's go and see whether it has opened August. You see, under the parameters, the system is taking, remember our first period was July. You can see here under the column of parameters here. Under this column of parameters, there is the period of July. This was our first ever period, and it was our latest open. Then we have, after submitting for the parameter to open the next period, or for the program to open the next period, the system has opened August by default. You can see it's picking August 2024 as the next period. Then again, I want us to now open the target period and see whether it will just go as expected. So we are supposed to close this. Okay. Also close this and open the window again, or the form again, and say find. You can see now August is open. So, and the system is displaying the next, future, and trouble. So through this, we can be able to see the sequences that is following. And also, remember we provided the number of period. When I talk about number of periods is when we are defining the period type, we assigned the period numbers. So the first period was July 2024. The second period is August, and the third period is September 2024. The same case, you can be able to see them here. Okay, these are the period numbers. These are the period numbers. There is the year. Okay, and also there is the date range. It is showing the date range just like we specified when defining the accounting calendar. So let's click on open target period and see what we have. See, now the system will give you a window whereby you're supposed to provide the target period. Just a minute. Here we can provide the target period out of the list of value. You can see we have the list of value here, and also you can type. For instance, let's try to open October 2024. Okay, and tab. Okay, so let's see whether the system will allow. So the system is asking us, are you sure you want to open this? Before we submit, let me cancel this. Click on it again. You can select the period from L or V. You can see we have all the periods which are not opened, starting with September all the way to the adjusting period. Okay, so let's select October 2024. Say okay, but this is not the best practice. Remember, you're supposed to only open the next period, you should not skip one period and go to the other. I'm just showing you how you can open the target period. So click on open and say yes. So I'll navigate to the concurrent manager and see. Let's see how it will complete. Give it some time. It has completed normally. So we can close this and close this also. Then open it again. Click on find. And now what the system does, it cannot skip one period that, like, you'll find if the period has never been opened before, you cannot skip it to go and open another one. The system will open the period that is in between before it opens the target one. But if you have opened and closed, now you can be able to skip it, okay, and open the other closed one that has probably been targeted. That is there any question regarding the period, open and closing of the period?
None.
All right. About the encumbrance here, we'll look about it when we are learning about the encumbrances. So that's about the period. So now we have 4 periods open. Let's see in our journal, if we try to book a journal, whether we can be able to book a journal in all the 4 periods or all open periods. And probably as I talk about journals, basically we access journals through the general ledger. Let me combine this information, although I'll add some information once we get there. So this is also done, but it's done in the level of general ledger. We will have periods in AP and in receivables to look at. So when it comes to booking a journal 2021, okay, all this information we are learning is about it's about the GL. So journals also are in the GL. So responsibility again is general ledger, responsibility application, general ledger. Navigation is journals. Enter. Journals. Okay. Once you click on enter, the system will open the the system will open the window whereby you have several things you can do. One thing, you can provide information here, okay, like say yes and clear, okay. Then if you want to create a new journal, you can click on new. Then we have new journal batches, whereby you group several journals in a certain batch or in batches. You will click this icon, as it will take you to where you can define a journal as a group of batches, or journals as a group of batches. But in our case, for what we just want to see is about period, and also we need to see whether we can be able to book a journal in our newly created ledger. So we click on new journal, and also before I say something, or I click on new journal, this field you can use also to search for existing journals or transaction that has been transferred to the GL. So if there is information that has been either created, like journals that has been created directly, you can use the batch name or the journal name and click on find. Okay, you can also, this information is for the purpose, or this field is for the purpose of defaulting or filtering out the already existing journal. So or transaction, you can provide any relevant information in each and every field and click on find. Okay, for instance, if it's source, for instance, the ledger here will always be, if you are using multi-ledger, you'll provide it, you can come and select it here. If you're using, for instance, if you are using payables, you'll come and say the source of journal is payables, or any other responsibility. You know, see, once I click on payables, it is defaulting. And also you can click on LOB, and you'll see all the sources of journals where they can come from. All the sources, you'll be able to see them here. Okay, so that's for the purpose of making you understand this small window, what you can do with it. Also, you can click on more, and you provide more parameters so that you can narrow down your filtration or your query or your search. But in our case, for today, we are just checking how we can manage to create a new transaction in our ledger. So initially, we were not able to see any information here under period. We had not been able to see any information here under effective date. So you'll find this information you can always change. If it's the period you want to change, you see all the periods that are ready for use. You can be able to see them from this window. You can select any of the period and be able to work with it or to book a transaction in it. Okay, so we close that. Same case, you can see the effective date is 1st of October 2024, because this is the latest period that we have opened. Okay, so we can go ahead and create one transaction. This is the header level. We call it header level. usually find, based on the different setups, there is information that will default here, and there is other information that you have to provide. So like for instance, you can see right now we can come to the line level and not provide information on at the journal field. But it's very, very unhealthy. We will have to make this field mandatory so that you cannot book a journal without a journal name. Okay, but that one we'll see later. So this one you can give it test, or we call it third journal 1. Third journal 1. Any other information we can leave it like that. Although let's book it on the current period. Our current period is September. Okay. And you see, once you select September, the current period, the system will take the current date, the system date, which is 6th September. Okay. And with that, you can come and now provide information here under line, and you provide line numbers. Here, line, under line column, we provide line numbers. Once you provide the line number, here under account, you're supposed now to select the account combination. The account combination that is existing. So let's see whether we have any. If there isn't, we need to go and create a combination. So if I close this or I cancel, you can, if you know the account combination, you can just type it. But if you don't know, you just go ahead and click on LOV and you provide the segmentation. You can see now how the chart of accounts, the way I said it, will be following us. The same case we are seeing it, because this is the chart of accounts that we assigned to this ledger. So let's see whether combination will accept. Can say it's maybe with a bit one expense like office. Project we give it maybe default. Even this one is not mandatory, because it said it's not required. So say okay. So then our debit is, let's say, 200. You can provide description T for project stuff. Okay. Then you come to second line, provide the code combination as well, which is default the cost center, sales, then account we credit cash, and we say project is defaulting. Say okay. Credit cash with 200. So the same description you can copy. Okay. So you can see now our journal is balancing the totals, and you can go ahead and save it. and we can see our journal has been saved successfully. But this journal is not posted, so it's not in our ledger yet. So how do you know it's not posted? One thing, you can see here the post option is active, so you can go ahead and click on post. Again, we can search for this journal. Okay, close here, close this table. Here we have nothing, but this is where you'll see the summary of all journals, whether posted or unposted. So you come and click on find. You know the journal name, paste it there and click on find. So you see the summary of our journal. You can be able to see the batch status, source, category, period, batch name. Okay, this one is defaulted by the system. Once you have it's the combination of the journal name and the date. Then there is the journal name here, column, currency, and the journal debit and credit. So you can go ahead and post. Okay, you can go ahead and review if you want to see. Like for instance, here you cannot see the code combination. So if you want to see what was in which were the accounts that were credited and debited, you click on review. Again, there is the batch status. It means this journal, you can be able to tell whether it's posted or not. So you can see the status here is unposted. This is very much important. It's very, very, very much important because it is telling you this journal has not updated the ledger. The moment you post, that's when it updates the ledger with the balances or with these figures. Okay, so if I click on review, you can now see the journal again with the details that has been provided. So you can go ahead and post from here, and also you could have posted in the other level. So click on post, and the system will submit a request for posting to the concurrent manager. Click on find, and it has single ledger posting program has completed normally. So we can close this, query the ledger again or the journal again. If the journal name is there, click on find. See, the status has changed to posted. And that's how we have managed to book our very first transaction in our learning process. Any question?
No question.
Okay. So I will go sometimes mixing a few things because once now we have posted the journal, we can check whether it has updated the trial balance, okay, or the books. And how we can be able to tell that is by checking the trial balance or the reports that the system has, and it has updated, whether it has updated this account. Remember, we have credited cash and we have debited, I think, the office tip, something of the sort. So we can check on these two accounts and see probably whether the trial balance under this ledger has been updated. Something else to note is that once you have done this transaction, the system will gray out all the areas that you can amend. Areas that someone can think they can come and change, the system will gray out so that you cannot come and amend or change any kind of transaction. We'll also see how we do approval of journals. We'll also see how we'll do journal reversals, how we can drill down the line and be able to see the transaction deeper, how we can change currency, change period, reserve funds. When we start working on budget, we'll see how we can check funds and reserve funds. Okay. Then let's see whether we have our trial balance updated. So we usually learn trial balance report. So here we just type percentage trial. These are seeded reports. These reports comes with the system. You don't need to come and create them. But there are some times you might find some reports has to be customed or adjusted for the purpose of fitting the business requirements. Okay. So here you provide the parameters. For instance, by default, if we have more than one ledger, you will have to select from the line of L or V. That is list of value. Then the currency defaults, currency type, entered currency. That one is not applicable. Then page break, segment. Here we can provide and say we need it in the level of company. Then our company is 01 and period. In which period do you want to see? In September. Select the period. Then amount type. We have year to date. We have year to date, project to date, and period to date. So this one I will have to explain to you later. But for instance, if you want to understand this for year to date, is that it will show you all the accumulation for the whole year to date. For the period to date, it will give you all the accumulation of that period up to that date. And for the project, it depends on the project that you are working on. It will show you all the accumulation of the project up to that date. You are submitting the request or submitting the program. In this case, mostly you will find you work with year to date because you want to see the accumulation of transaction since the start of the accounting period. That is when the year starts. And submit, click no, click find. And our trial balance has quickly completed. Let's see whether we can see anything. Exactly. So you can see our trial balance is showing that it's showing the account, it's showing the description. This is the name of the account. It's showing the beginning balance. If there was any beginning balance in this account, it could have displayed here. Then there is what has been debited and credited. So in our case, we debited the expense account of Office D and credited the cash account. And you can see because now cash account had no money, it's showing a negative. Okay, so we can comfortably say that we have booked our very first transactions in the GL very successfully. So we will continue learning other transaction, other functionality as time goes by. Any question?
No question.
All right, so if there's no question, I would request we go up to that level today.